Well, Brooks and I have come to Women in Focus Physio here in Sydney, Australia to talk to medical experts about what exercises are safe to do and which ones we need to stay away from post-pregnancy. So I want you to meet Liz Evans. She's the principal physiotherapist here at Women in Focus, and you're also a mom of two.
I am. I've got a little 3-month-old at home and a 3-year-old, so I am down in the trenches doing my own rehab at the moment.
Yeah, so she knows firsthand what this is all about. I think I'll pop Brooks down here. You stay right here, buddy, while we do our exercises. Good boy. That's a good boy. All right, first up, I'm gonna hop up into quadruped, hands and knees. And a lot of folks, Liz, don't think this is a position for abs exercises, but it can be.
It absolutely can be, because the abdominal muscles and the deep layer that we're trying to work on act as a stabilizer. So what we're going to do is we're going to lift one arm up to start with, so keep those deep stabilizers on, balancing a tray of drinks. Okay, put that arm down, most expensive type of French champagne you can imagine.
We don't want to spill that French champagne.
No, definitely not.
So keep the back flat, you say?
Yeah, lift the left arm up. So I want you to keep your pelvic floor and tummy muscles on, and they're working to stabilize this whole section. Put that arm down. Now, keep this in, and now let's slowly slide your leg out the back. So your right leg slowly out the back, and try not to spill that champagne. I reckon you spilled about a quarter of a glass just then. I felt that tip over just a little bit, and swap legs.
Oh, let me do that.
That's it.
Again.
So we're going to do one leg and slowly bring it in, and then the other leg. So your core is actually working on the switching of arms and legs. Can you feel that? So it's not necessarily about the lift. It's actually when you kind of shift your load in your body, your stabilizers have to work. So that's one of the kind of most basic exercises all women should do to start kind of connecting with the pelvic floor and core, because it doesn't allow the six-pack to work, and we don't want the six-pack to work when we're trying to lay down those deep muscle layers first. All right, so what we're going to get Anna to do now is come onto her back, but when we're moving in that kind of first 3-4 months post-baby, what we need to do is roll into our side to get onto our back, because if she rolls down like this and you have some abdominal separation, that's going to actually risk some herniation of that abdominal kind of wall at the center point. We need to come onto our side. Okay. That's it. Is that good? And now roll onto our back.
So this is important when we're getting out of bed and things.
Absolutely.
Even,
yeah, that whole log roll for that first 3 months is so important.
Yeah.
Once the abdominal muscle, kind of the integrity has come back and the strength is there, then we can kind of resume to our normal movements. We don't want to fear movements, but in that initial period, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So what we're going to do here is we're going to apply the principles of activating those deep muscles. Now, I'm assuming you know how to work them because we've already done the ultrasound and whatnot. But in this position, we're going to use the deep tummy muscles as a stabilizer. So again, we're talking here about laying down the foundations, yeah? We're not talking about doing big kind of sit-ups or anything really kind of advanced here. We've got to get those deep layers activating. So we're going to just do what we call a bent knee fallout, which is essentially we're going to just gently open one knee out to the side and return it back to this midpoint, and then the other leg. But the trick is to imagine you have some champagne balancing on this hip bone and this hip bone, and you don't want that champagne to spill at all. Okay. So we're going to use our deep stabilizers to inhale. As you exhale, pelvic floor, lower tummy on, keep them on. Slowly open your right knee out to the side without those hip bones moving. Feel that? Feel you get a little bit of movement? Yes. Yeah. So let's do it again a bit slower. Okay. Yeah. So really get those stabilizers on to start with. Good. Slowly open the leg out to the side. Much better. Feel that difference?
Yes, big time.
And then let's come out to the other side. Good. It's harder than it looks. You know, you're just literally moving the leg a tiny bit.
They're just these tiny muscle movements, but it's so...
But this is how you get a flat tummy, ladies, by actually getting those deeper muscles working, yeah? Good. So that's a bent knee fallout. And then a progression on that would be going into a single leg lift, okay? So we're going to kind of come up, leg lift up, and pop it back down. Now what we're trying to do here is we're trying to keep that tension in the lower tummy, make sure the belly button doesn't bulge, and we want to make sure that this champagne glass over here is not tipping as well. So we lift one leg up, good. Then once it's up, we can actually take it out to the side, a bit more advanced in this position, yep. Bring it back to the center and down, and then repeat on the other side.
So up.
And slowly out.
Out.
Back to the center and down. Can you feel that activating? Yeah.
So let's do a few more reps.
Great. Good. So really thinking about not kind of twisting that pelvis. And then we always kind of go, what's happening with your breathing? because often if you're holding your breath, then you're changing the whole way that abdominal canister works. So keep breathing throughout. Inhale, exhale, inhale, and lower. Good. So we usually try and exhale on the hardest bit, but as long as people keep breathing, I'm happy with that, because sometimes people get so caught up, inhale, exhale,
it's
inhale,
hard to
exhale.
Keep it straight. It really is.
Just keep breathing, ladies. Just make sure, as long as you're keeping on breathing, then you know that you're going to get those right muscles kind of activating. So that's that one there. And then we're going to go through some crunches. Okay. Now, crunches are one of those kind of things that post-baby, it's a bit kind of taboo. Now, I'm totally fine with crunches, and they're actually a really important muscle group to build, because that is your rectus abdominis and your obliques. And if we don't activate them and strengthen them, then they're going to stay weak, and then you're kind of setting yourselves up for all sorts of issues. But the trick is you've got to lay those other muscles down first, and then we can do a crunch the right way. Okay. So whenever I teach a woman to do a crunch, I always get her to put one finger at her belly button. This is post kind of baby. And when I say post baby, I'm talking the whole first year post baby. Yeah.
Okay.
You know, if
so
you've been doing
3 more months, I need to
well, you know, you might be at a point where you've done so many of them that you're fine. And then other people kind of, you know, need to do this till they're 18 months. So everyone's a bit different, right? Put one hand behind your head just to give that neck a little bit of support. What we're going to feel for, we're going to take a deep breath in. And you're going to breathe out, and we're going to do pelvic floor and lower tummy first to lay down those foundations, so that then when we do a crunch, we're actually not going to bellow and pop. So these fingers here are trying to feel that the belly button isn't pushing out towards you. So I imagine that you've got a little Malteser sitting on your belly button, and you want that Malteser to stay there. Does that make sense? Exhale, come up. Good. And lower down. Great. So Anna's doing a great job here. She's keeping it there. And let's go one more, keeping that Malteser there. And come back down. Now I want you to not activate your pelvic floor and tummy, and just kind of crunch up, and I want you to put your finger back there, and you'll feel go back down. Imagine there was a Malteser, and it would go pop off. Can you feel that? It would kind of like just shoot away.
Yeah.
So you did such a great job of pre-tensioning, and once you can pre-tension and do a crunch, it's fine. But if you can't pre-tension, then what's going to happen is you're going to actually continuously stretch that linea alba, which is not great for abdominal separation.
So basically, if we're going to do a crunch, what do we need to do?
So when we do a crunch, we need to activate our pelvic floor and our transverse abdominis first.
Transverse abdominis are on.
And we need to make sure that as we kind of come up into the crunch, we're exhaling and we're not feeling a pop at our belly button, okay?
This needs to stay. You don't want any billowing or ballooning.
No.
In our final exercise, what do you have for us?
So the last one we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit more of an advanced exercise, which is where we have both legs up in tabletop, and we're going to do single leg tap. We're going to start again, because what I want to talk women through is getting up there, because you've been doing this a long time, you know how to do it, but most women, once they get those legs up, they pop. So if we get that whole concept of the Malteser here, they lift one leg and then they go to lift the second and it pops up. So fingers on your belly button for me. It's all about the setup. Pelvic floor, lower tummy on. Float your left leg up for me. Good. Now exhale and float the right leg, and let's make sure we get no popping. See how we get a little bit of popping? Like just kind of feel that a little bit. So that setup is really important, okay? So then from here, now we can go into the taps and just really kind of slowly kind of lowering one leg down. Exhale, inhale, return. Now this is one of those exercises, the slower you do it, the harder it is, yeah? But that means it's much better for that whole abdominal canister, because you could actually have to do less of them for them to be more effective.
And what do you want me doing with my lower back?
So right now, what I want you doing with your lower back is keeping it relatively in neutral. So everyone's neutral is slightly different. So we want to make sure that as that leg's extending, we're not arching through the lower back, or we're not flattening it completely into the bed. So it's kind of just keeping a very slight curve. I like to say like a little blueberry is sitting in the small of your back. We don't want to squash the blueberry, or we don't want it to kind of arch off it so it can roll away. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah.
Great.
Perfect. Now, if you're finding, ladies, when you're doing this, that you are getting your belly buttons actually popping, it's too advanced for you. So just go back to that single leg version.
Okay, well, this leads us to things that we should not be doing. So you showed us how we can properly do a crunch, but what's an improper crunch look like? That's probably what most of us would be doing accidentally, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, most women go, great, I've had my baby, my tummy's kind of flabby, I want to get back to all my abdominal exercises. So the go-tos would be, let's go sit-ups, let's do planks, let's do double leg lowers, because that's what I did before. But they're probably my 3 top exercises to avoid in that first kind of 3 to 4 months post-baby until you've got all of your muscle layers working the right way. So let's do a quick demo of them and I'll talk you through why. All right, cool.
So the first no-no exercise is a full sit-up.
Absolutely. So when we do a full sit-up, what happens is as soon as she kind of comes up, her belly button kind of sticks into my fingers and I feel her abdominal muscles separate apart. Now, what that is it's actually not only not going to help her heal, but it has the potential to actually make it worse. So this is kind of one of my biggest no-nos. Yeah. Down the track, of course, if you've got the good control, you can do it, but absolutely, let's avoid this one.
Otherwise, it can make our bellies even bigger rather than flatter, not what we're trying to go for.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, what's another exercise we ought to stay away from?
So the other one, let's come back on our back, and one where we've got both of our legs up in kind of in tabletop, and whether it's being tabletop or kind of where both legs are up in the air, and we are lowering them down at the same time. The reason we're avoiding this is as soon as we lower them down,
this is one I can even feel still.
My fingers kind of essentially pushing out. Her back is losing control and come back. So this is another big no-no. And I can't tell you how often I see mums in kind of postnatal groups or, you know, whatever, and they're actually doing double leg lowers, and I just cringe because it's like there's absolutely no abdominal control. And again, that is actually it's putting so much load on that linea alba that it has the potential to make your healing kind of, you know, just like so much slower and, you know, do make things a lot worse.
What else do we need to stay away from?
So my other one in the early days is planks. Okay, and the reason is because when you do a plank, women grip through these upper abdominal muscles up through here, and often what happens is this lower abdominal muscles, they just start to sag, and then over time, there starts to become a bit of a herniation at the belly button because they're breath holding, they're pushing down, they're clenching. It's a great exercise for some upper kind of body, and it is a stability exercise. And do I get women doing planks eventually? Yes. But in this early phase, it is one of my other big no-nos.
Okay. So I'm doing it now and doing it with ease because I'm ready for it. I'm 9 months postpartum. I was already cleared, but it's a big one that we ought to stay away from in the beginning.
Absolutely. Lay the foundations down right, and then you can get to that harder stuff when your body's ready for it.
Great.